Hey everybody, it's Meteorologist Brad Panovich with your Ski Southeast update for this week. Kind of a crazy week. We're going to see wild swings, a couple chances of wintry weather, and maybe some ice and rain mixed in. I think we're going to see all four seasons here, it looks like, at least for parts of the Southeast coming up this week. We've got a pretty big storm system, which is going to warm up things initially here in the Southeast. But this is what we call an anafront. On the backside of this front, you can see there's some snow developing, and the reason we call it an anafront is because the moisture is behind the front more so than ahead of the front. And in this case, Arctic fronts often do this, where you get overrunning. So you can see some of this snow, which is going to be spreading across the southeast here on Wednesday morning on the backside of this front as the Arctic air kind of moves into the region. So twofold thing. We're going to get some snow, and we're going to get some colder temperatures. So snowmaking opportunities starting Tuesday night into Wednesday and probably lasting well into Friday, because this Arctic high is going to move into the mid-Atlantic and kind of take up shop. So really cold air here for Wednesday and Thursday. So ideal snowmaking in the southeast. And then we'll start turning our attention to the next system, which will be heading our way probably Friday morning. Now this is a little bit more of an icy setup. You could see initially the high pressure is over the northeast and in the parts of the Atlantic. That northeasterly wind typically pushes cold air up against the mountains. So this is more of an icy setup, though I do think there could be snow up in parts of West Virginia and Virginia just because of the elevation here. Pocahontas County sticks out pretty well there, but even there, it eventually changes to all rain. So not the greatest day on Friday as that system moves through pretty quickly and we get into kind of a warm and wet period. But there's another cold snap coming Sunday into Monday on the backside of this system. You can see a subtle hint of some northwest flow developing on Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, and that cold air is going to reestablish itself. So at least nighttime snowmaking starting early next week. So that's what I mean. We're going to see a little bit of everything over the next 7-day period or so. It's just going to be a crazy stretch of weather. So let me show you the snowfall with the anafront, which is the front that's coming through really Tuesday night into Wednesday. We'll stop this. It's going to stop on Thursday at 6 p.m. I don't expect additional snowfall, but you can see there's a pretty good area of snow here, mainly in eastern Tennessee, moving up into parts of, whoops, let me go back. I don't want to jump ahead real quick. Maybe generally into areas around like Winter Place. Winter Place could actually be a real big winter for this. So areas right there around Winter Place might end up with more in that 4 to 5 inch range. And then some of the Virginia resorts could end up being a little bit more impacted by this than some other locations. And then maybe Ober-Gatlinburg might end up with a decent snowfall. So not so much in the North Carolina mountains and even up towards Snowshoe and even Wisp. But this is going to be more Virginia, southwestern Virginia, and parts, right around Winter Place, and then I would think down towards Gatlinburg. Looking at some pretty good setup here. So here's the forecast again. Kind of jumped ahead earlier, but I do think we'll have snow and snowmaking on Wednesday across the southeast. Ideal snowmaking, especially at night on Thursday and Friday. At least initially in the morning up in West Virginia, Virginia, and Maryland, we should have some pretty good conditions there. Now long range, I'm looking for that mother lode of Arctic air. The interesting thing about the long range pattern, there's so much cold air bottled up, it just can't get all the way down here. It seems to be hogged to the north, and that's kind of what I expected this winter in the winter forecast. I mean, we're still early in the season, that the cold air was going to hang mainly just to our north. But if you look going into the end of the weekend, into early next week, a piece tries to come down, and then next week it looks like another piece, at least some troughiness develops here over the southeast. So this is next Wednesday. We'll have to keep an eye on this pattern because this is kind of an interesting omega block setting up a little bit here, and sometimes we can get cold air to come down from eastern Canada. So this is going to be a pattern to watch for the middle of next week. I think that potentially could be kind of an East Coast stormy and cold. And the problem with this type of setup, the guidance doesn't do a really good job. Typically, we get ridging and blocking in the North Atlantic. We get this omega block here, and what happens is it forces cold air down in a very small area here in the East Coast where it's warm across most of the country and over most of the Atlantic. So this is a good setup for the Southeast and something to keep an eye on as we go into the middle of next week. So we'll keep an eye on it. As always, I will update this again. Make sure you're thinking about snow. This season has been off to a great start. We've had enough cold snaps here and there to keep the snow guns going, and we've had some natural snow so far. We're still waiting for that big storm to hit and maybe soak us with a good dumping of snow, maybe right around Christmas. That would be great, but right now, kind of far out to even look at that. But over the next couple weeks, we'll have a better idea.